Gretel and Hansel is directed by Osgood Perkins, the man behind The Black Coat's Daughter and the pretty I am the pretty thing that lives in the house. That was it. It stars Sophia Lillis in a story that is more Gretel-centered, as you can tell by the name swap in the title, and it's a considerably more dark version of the tale than we're used to seeing. Both of them run into the witch in the woods, as we know, but the story plays out in a far more grotesque way that is aiming to delve deeper into the emotional substance of what's really going on here. When I first heard about this movie, I tried to picture how it was eventually pitched to the studios, and I imagine somebody walked into a room and said, "You want to make a Hansel and Gretel movie?" And they were like, no. Well, what if we called it Gretel and Hansel? Oh my god, that's brilliant! Yes, here's $5 million. Coming out in January, I didn't expect that much from Gretel and Hansel, but what I can definitely say about it is that the production design and the cinematography are absolutely top-notch. This movie looks very chilling. There's some very frightening shots, and they do a really great job of capturing some surprisingly scary sequences that I didn't expect. The movie is also aggressively not mainstream. It's very against the grain. It feels very indie. Almost the entire film takes place inside the witch's house or around it. There's basically just three principal characters, Hansel, Gretel, and the witch. Sophia Lillis is pretty good in the movie, although I was confused because it seems like all three of the characters have a different accent. Everyone speaks slightly differently, and I didn't really understand what the choice was there, or if anyone noticed. The score is also pretty good, so everything you're seeing and hearing is top-notch. Narratively, this movie is extremely bare bones, and the film takes a very pretentious approach to the way it's made, and when you combine that with a script that doesn't really have much behind it, it makes it seem strangely more pretentious. The movie is shot at the aspect ratio of 1:55, so the shots feel very cramped and old-fashioned, and this created a nice aesthetic for a long time. But after a while, it seemed like everything was just perfectly centered, and your eye is rarely moving as a result, and so it kind of gets tiring. You're not really engaging that much with the shots when almost everything is in the center of the frame. And even at 87 minutes, this movie does feel a tad long, and most of that is because it doesn't feel like there's any meat on this screenplay. There's a lot of tacked on narration too, and an opening scene where the backstory is revealed that feels 100% like it was added on in post. It's even at a different aspect ratio, since so much of this movie is basically about Gretel being enticed by this witch to eventually learn more about witchcraft and learn more about herself in the process. The movie takes so long to get to those scenes that when they do happen, it kind of feels like you were waiting for a really long time for not that much. So since I didn't really feel connected with any of the characters or their journeys or anything that was happening, I kind of just sat back and appreciated the pretty visuals, and it began to feel like a smart business choice. You got three characters in a house in the middle of the woods for almost the entire movie, and it's not even 90 minutes. That's cheap. It can be done. I just didn't feel anything. And since the script makes so few attempts to flesh out these characters or make them feel like people or give them a challenge or something to overcome beyond a series of nightmares and visions that we're not even sure are real, for about half the movie I was engaged, at least visually, about 40 minutes or so, but then it became apparent that they just weren't going to do anything else except this long series of creepy visions and really beautiful cinematography. The characters just had nothing behind them, and so I checked out. I'm going to give Gretel and Hansel a C. Well, guys, that's the first month of a new decade in film. It had some January stuff in there. It definitely did have some of that. But it also had The Gentleman and Underwater, which I thought was a lot better than most people said. So it wasn't all bad. We had our Nicole Brown Simpsons movies, though. That happened. That happened. Guys, thank you so much, as always, for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.